Apologies for what you're about to see.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint. Today we are playing Battlefield 1, which is why I had to lead with Davros, because this is not prestige gameplay. I'm not proud of what I recorded here today, but I don't really play Battlefield games, so excuse me while I get my bearings. All the same, the reason we're playing this today as our background footage is because I got this for free in the Steam sale by selling some trading cards, and not even very many of them, because this is absolutely dirt cheap right now, so I figured might as well grab it while I can. It's still got a very healthy player base, didn't have any trouble finding games. That being said, I didn't know how to find any games other than this operations mode, so we are starting with round 2 out of 3 just because I didn't feel like recording 45 minutes of commentary today. But yeah, here we are, World War 1, and I've decided to be a medic because at least I can contribute in some way, apart from just constantly falling over dead every 5 seconds. My aim? Terrible. My survival skills? Left them at home. My situational awareness? Don't have any. But my ability to chuck medpacks at people and stab them with a syringe when they die? Yeah, that's okay, I guess. I did find that, like with most of my limited experience in Battlefield games, I was either dying every 5 seconds and not able to do anything, or I was able to, actually help defend a place with what felt like a meaningful effort. So those are, the two extremes you tend to find in these Battlefield games, and that's another reason why we're only doing the last 2 rounds, because the first round was very much the former. But yes, good thy wallets, listeners, because I am going to talk about the Steam Summer Sale. And it's funny because there have been times in the past where these things have come and gone and I've barely even noticed them, but right now I'm very much in the Steam ecosystem. My PC is very much my main gaming machine, and so I'm very much back in the camp of, oh gosh, there's a Steam sale on, I'm gonna have to try and not spend all of my money. I've relapsed is what I'm saying. I've relapsed back into the old ways of picking up games and then just chucking them on the backlog and then getting to them half a decade later and going, I probably didn't need to pick this up 5 years ago. I mean, okay, I'll tell you one thing I did hold back on. Okay, I made a responsible decision. So, The Adventures of Elliot came out this week, and I was very tempted to, do a rare, pick up a game at launch at full price kind of thing, because I'd played a little bit of a demo and almost immediately gone, I don't want to play any more of this demo because I know I'm going to really like this game. However, I thought back to the fact that I own some other Square Enix HD 2D games, such as Octopath Traveler 1, and Octopath Traveler 2, and Project Triangle Strategy, and Live Alive, and Dragon Quest III HD 2D, and I thought back to how much time I've spent in those games, and I went, do I really need another one right now? Yeah, okay, The Adventures of Elliot is a different game. It's a different IP. It's a different genre or subgenre of RPG. It's more of a Zelda-like than anything from what I can tell. And that's kind of new. But I should probably play what I've got first, right? Especially when it's not like I didn't like those games, I just allowed myself to get distracted. So yeah, I talked about this a little bit last week, that's why I was playing Octopath. For a quick update on that, I have now got all 8 characters, and I am working on bridging the level gap up to start the chapter 2s, because there is a bit of a level gap there. Although so far I haven't felt that much friction in trying to grind out some levels, because I did come across a metal slime, a Kate, and get a bunch of levels all at once. And I did a quick Google and saw that people recommend going and doing the quote-unquote optional dungeons around the world, which are recommended for level 10 and 15, and that's gonna get you a bunch of XP, and there's some good side stories and stuff like that. So yeah, sure, I'll keep at that. So instead of buying one new game for full price and probably playing it for 10 hours and being this is really fun, and then getting distracted by something else, I decided to buy lots of deep discount games instead, and a couple of just regular discount games. The big two for me were Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it was 27 quid, and Starfield, which was 35 quid. I initially bought something else, but I didn't gel fit, so I refunded that and used the money to get Starfield instead. Now, these are two very different purchases. The first is completely new for me. Assassin's Creed Shadows was on my radar, and then they put out a preview of, I think it was the first gameplay preview they did, and something about that gameplay preview made me go, oh, I don't think I care about this actually, and then I didn't really look at it again, and then I heard weird things in the meantime, like they were doing crossovers with like Attack on Titan and stuff, which just kind of felt like, I know we've got the Animus as an excuse, but what are we doing, guys? And I love Attack on Titan. However, I am a massive Assassin's Creed fan. That includes not just like the original early games like Assassin's Creed 2 and stuff, but also Origins and Odyssey, and to a lesser extent Valhalla. I've never actually finished that game. And so when I saw it go for cheaper than I've seen it so far, I mean, I was considering picking it up on sale for like a week ago, and that was 32 quid, so I'm glad I waited. I got an extra 5 quid off. I knew going into it that I would probably like it more than the general consensus seems to agree that people should enjoy this game, because that's how I've felt about previous Assassin's Creed titles as well. Origins and Odyssey are very favourably looked upon now, but back when they first came out, people were still a little bit wary about them. And of course, with Assassin's Creed Shadows, the main problem we've got is Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei did it first. Actually, I think Ghost of Yotei might have come out after Assassin's Creed Shadows, but that's besides the point. People are going to compare these games to those games, and this game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, is part of a broader franchise, and so it's going to be using a particular blueprint. It's going to be less innovative, it's going to be less unique, and people are, quite fairly going to, deduct some points from it for that. However, and I should preface this by saying I'm 3 hours in, so this is not the most informed opinion in the world. I reserve the right to change my mind. But having also played 8 hours of Ghost of Tsushima, can't speak today, I can now make the very informed opinion of, I think my Assassin's Creed fandom is gonna put Shadows, it's gonna give it a leg up. Wait, that's not a right term. It's probably gonna be one of those, like, yes, I acquiesce to the general belief that the Ghost games are better games, whatever. It's the Top Gear meme, right? This is brilliant, but I like this. If I had to guess, that's gonna be the outcome, but I do still want to play through Ghost of Tsushima. The fact that Sony have decided that they're not going to port their games to PC anymore, meaning we won't get Ghost of Yotei, has hampered my motivation to continue Tsushima a little bit. It shouldn't really, because Tsushima is its own game. And as far as I know, Yotei is not like a direct sequel to it, right, in terms of story. We've got different time period, different protagonists, all that stuff. But yeah, we don't have to continue to compare them, because like I said, I've only played a few hours of both of these games, but I'm really enjoying Assassin's Creed Shadows so far. And the thing that is surprising me the most that I'm really enjoying is the story. I'm already really attached to Naue. Like, I doubt she'll beat Ezio or Cassandra as my favourite Assassin's Creed protagonists, don't get me wrong, but I do really like her as a character, and I'm really curious to see where her story goes. I've also found Assassin's Creed Shadows to be a very beautiful game so far. Ghost of Tsushima might still edge it out. Obviously Shadows is a newer game, so it's got a little bit more graphical fidelity, probably. But in terms of just like aesthetics and the way it does like vibrant colours and stuff, Ghost of Tsushima might just went out on that front. But Assassin's Creed Shadows also like does stormy Japan really, really well, and there have been so many times when I've just been, well, there have been a few times in my 3 hours when I've been exploring the world, and I've just been like, ooh, I've been stopping and doing photo mode a lot. And yeah, just the familiarity of the Assassin's Creed RPG open world blueprint, it, for some people that's going to take away from the experience. For me, it helps ease me in. I also haven't seen much of Yasuke's story yet. For those not familiar with the game, the samurai guy, his story, we do start with him, but we very quickly move on to Naue, and so far we've not got back to him, and I'm very curious to see how their stories intertwine. It's legitimately an interesting story setup so far. Like, it seems like they actually have a interesting reason to do a dual protagonists thing, other than just like we want to give people the ability to play as a male character instead of just a female character because gamers won't buy a female character game, which is legitimately a reason in the past why we've had a male and a female protagonist. Stay classy, Ubisoft. But yeah, still very early days with Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm gonna play some more of it the second I'm done recording here because I've allowed myself to be spending most of my free time these last 2 days in the other big game I said I picked up, which is Starfield. Boy, I sure am picking up the the publicly maligned games today, aren't I? Am I a contrarian? No, I just really like Starfield. I played a lot of it back when I had Xbox Game Pass. Stupidly, I bought the premium add-ons thing where I would get the DLC, but not the base game because who needs the base game, right? We've got Game Pass. Turns out I don't like Game Pass anymore, and so I've been waiting for it to go on discount for a deeper discount than I actually did end up getting it for. Like £35 is still pretty steep for a 3-year-old game. But like I said, I love this game. I know I love this game, and I really want to continue playing this game. Actually, I say continue playing this game. I actually restarted it because it wasn't really a personal choice. There's no cross-save with the Steam and the Xbox version. But that's fine because I'm down to start over. I'm down to re-experience some parts of this game alongside parts I've not seen yet. Now that I know the general direction of like where the story goes and how New Game Plus is handled, which I still think is one of the most interesting ways to do New Game Plus, to actually weave it into the narrative. I won't say any more than that. But yeah, I still think that's really cool. But knowing how that works now, I can kind of plan my gameplay a little bit more around that, like, you know, what order am I going to tackle the quest lines in and stuff like that. Also, something I really want to do in this Starfield playthrough is spend a little bit more time just allowing myself to get distracted. Because for whatever reason, when I first played it, I was like, okay, I'm going to do the main storyline first, and then the UC Vanguard storyline, and then the Freestar Collective storyline. You know, like, I planned it out. I was going to do main quest line, and then I was going to do the main side quest lines. This time around, some guy walks up to me, he's like, hey, we really need help getting some new mining equipment here on Mars. Feel like helping us? I go, yeah, sure, while Sarah watches on bewildered as I spend the next few hours just running around chasing a freaking golden goose around the Sol system, and also subsequently getting arrested and accidentally starting the Crimson Fleet quest line at the same time. I want to explore more of Starfield. I want to explore the world more organically and just like let myself be free within the settled systems, and so far I'm having a really good time doing that. The main issue I've come up against is I only have a 500GB internal SSD, and I only really have enough space on a day-to-day basis to house one like 150GB sized game on it, and so Assassin's Creed Shadows is on that because I did check and see how well it would run off of my external SSD, and no, that's not gonna work, fam. And the thing with Starfield is it's also a little bit, you know, hitchy if you run it off of an external SSD because it's not loading in game assets as fast as the game is designed to, because it is bottlenecked by that USB speed. Even if it is 3.0, it's still a USB. And so I knew this was going to be a problem, and I decided not to get frustrated. I just said to myself, like, if I have to wait to play Starfield until I'm done with Assassin's Creed Shadows, so be it. But I'm going to try and make it work on my external SSD. And I tried a few things. Turns out updating my updating my drivers really helped, because I haven't done that in like 2 years. So that was, I don't know how it all works behind the scenes, but that was clearly not helping. And I also realized that the adapter I have to put my USB-C cable from my external SSD into my PC, I think that might have been USB 2.0. So I made sure to get some actual 3.0 adapters in, and I don't know if there's actually all that much difference. So maybe it was 3.0 already, but there was no real way for me to tell. Or if there was, don't tell me about it, because otherwise I wasted £6 and that's going to make me mad. No, I have noticed a small increase in speeds? What's the language here? I've noticed a small improvement to the hitching in Starfield since I started using this new one, and I think it's because it's 3.2 as opposed to what the other one would have been 3.0 if it was 3.0 indeed. So, you know, I've spent some time figuring that out as well. But so far in Starfield, I have made my character, I've joined Constellation, I've got to Mars, which is like the first Constellation mission, and as I mentioned, I immediately got distracted doing Mars things. And as someone who's watched like the first 6 or 7 episodes of The Expanse in the last couple of weeks, I'm realizing just how much of the Starfield universe is inspired by probably The Expanse. It's very similar kind of aesthetic and general vibe. I know The Expanse is getting its own proper RPG in the future, so I have to wonder if Bethesda approached them at any point, or if they just wanted to do their own thing. Because it's not exactly the same as The Expanse, you know, it's like 100 years later, it's across many different star systems as opposed to just the one, so, you know, shrug. But I can see them maybe having wanted to do an Expanse based game, and this coming out of that. But that's purely speculation. It's more likely that this is just a subgenre of sci-fi that it happens to share with The Expanse. So yeah, those are the 2 big purchases I made during the Steam sale. And I also made a smattering of extremely deep discount pickups. Mostly Ubisoft titles, because boy do I enjoy their games. Firstly, I picked up the triple pack for Watch Dogs for I think less than a tenner or thereabouts, including Watch Dogs 1, 2 and Legion. Legion was the bulk of the price, it's like £7.50, but 1 and 2 were super cheap. And here's the thing, I've only played some of Legion on Game Pass a few years ago, and I really liked that game. I really liked what I played of it. I did put out a video of my time in that game. If you're curious to see it, you can probably find it by searching for it on the channel. I don't think it really did too well when I put it out originally, and honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm going so hard on just putting most things into miscellaneous shenanigans nowadays, because, you know, chances are there's going to be something in a miscellaneous shenanigans monthly compilation that people are going to want to see, and maybe they'll also stick around for the thing that they wouldn't have otherwise clicked on, such as in this month's offerings, Assassin's Creed Shadows. But yeah, that's besides the point. I've loaded up Watch Dogs 1, which was notoriously quite a critically maligned game when it first came out, but it has since had some people going like, it wasn't that bad, you know, like obviously Watch Dogs 2 is the good one, and that's also considered quite underrated. But I decided I might as well start from the beginning and check out Watch Dogs 1. I'm curious about it, and so far, yeah, it's a pretty decent GTA style game. I'm quite enjoying it. I don't know how I feel about the whole like you're an edgy vigilante who profiles people to try and predict them committing crimes and then stalks them and then punches them in the back of the head as soon as they do a crime. That feels a little weird. That feels a little like mixed messaging in terms of like this is a dystopian future that we don't want to allow companies to have access to so much of our information and stuff. I think what I saw in Watch Dogs Legion definitely felt like a more refined version of what this game is trying to do. But story aside, yeah, it's fun. Obviously, it's aged a little bit at this point, but it has a surprising amount of side activities that I don't remember being there in Watch Dogs Legion, such as like there's missions where I can like chase people down and ram them off the road and stuff, and like I said, little vigilante side missions, and it seems like there's also mini games. I haven't actually come across any of them yet. I've seen like you can play chess. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what Ubisoft's original vision for Watch Dogs was and then see it evolve over the years. But yeah, I know 2 is set in LA and most people prefer 2. I think I've played like 10 minutes of 2 on Game Pass at one point, but yeah, I'll be excited to check that out as well. Another Ubisoft title I picked up for like a couple of quid was Far Cry 4. I've been wanting a Far Cry for a while. I've never really played one of those games apart from like a couple of hours of 5 on Game Pass once again. But this time around it was Far Cry 4 that I decided to pick up because it was one of the featured deep discounts. I think it was less than 2 quid or thereabouts. And I did decide to also install and load up this one just to get a quick taste. I don't necessarily intend to properly play it right now. But yeah, it plays well. It's, you know, the gunplay isn't like crazy good or anything, but that's not necessarily the point of Far Cry. I'm trying to think of like how to quickly summarize what Far Cry is. And honestly, I think it's almost a subgenre in its own right. Like, it's a first-person shooter game with survival themes, but not necessarily a survival game in itself. But, you know, it's got the Ubisoft map stuff of, like, here are these types of objectives, you know, like strongholds to clear out or whatever they call them in this game, and towers to climb and all that stuff. But while you've got, like, collecting guns and stuff and whatever, you've also got stuff like hunting animals and yeah, I don't know, it's like survivally, like there's a grappling hook with physics that you like kind of swing around on sometimes, but not all the time. It's people know what Far Cry is, I don't need to explain Far Cry, but all the same, something funny is that up until like a week ago, I always thought that Far Cry 4 was just like a more modern version of Far Cry 3, like it took place in the same kind of location, like another tropical island and stuff. I couldn't have been further from the truth. It takes place in like the mountains near Nepal, and that's like a surprisingly interesting location for a game to be set in. You don't see that very often. And it's a 12-year-old game. It still looks really nice. Like, granted, I'm playing on PC with like the highest graphical settings, but it's like, I'm really enjoying like exploring this place so far, although again, I haven't spent much time in it yet, and I don't necessarily intend to right now. There's only so many games I can juggle, but yeah, I wanted to have a Far Cry, and I just wanted to quickly check in and make sure I'd picked up the right one, because £7.50 for Far Cry 5 was still a little bit more than I wanted to spend. But like £2 for 4, yeah, sure, let's go for it. And yeah, happy to report I'm happy with the game. And then lastly, again for less than £2, I picked up Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which might seem really random, but here's why. I don't really know if this is what this game is good for doing, but when it comes to like anime fighting games, I'm forever going to be chasing Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, which was a 4-game series which retold the events of the anime in really high detail. In fact, the game I mentioned that didn't work out, that I ended up refunding, is Bleach Rebirth of Souls, which I picked up, and I was very excited to play, but unfortunately, I found that the presentation of the story within the solo campaign was pretty lackluster, and that was kind of the main reason why I was there. Now, I'm not a crazy Dragon Ball fan. I've actually only read the manga, I haven't even seen the anime, and that's only up to Super as well. So maybe this game isn't going to be for me, because I know this game isn't just a retelling of the story, it's like an alternate thing of like, people are trying to change the timeline, and your player character is going to intervene. See, I did look up and see what the game was before I bought it, don't worry. But ultimately, like, I'm familiar with the events of the story, if not, like, I don't recall them perfectly, but I'm familiar enough to probably enjoy that, right? I did pick up Xenoverse 1 on Xbox a few years back, but I didn't really get into it, and I'm probably not going to play this game right now, but I did just want to grab it while it was dirt cheap, because yeah, I have a passing interest, and it went well with the Bleach game I picked up as well, but like I said, I've refunded that one now, so the Dragon Ball game seems a little bit more random by itself. But I know people think very highly of Xenoverse 2, so I guess we'll see how it lands with me. Oh, actually, one more thing, before the Steam Summer Sale started, there was a super deep discount on the King's Bounty franchise, and I've never played one of these, like, I believe it's called Heroes of Might and Magic, right? Is that the one? Let me check. Yeah, Heroes of Might and Magic is the more famous one. It's a kind of subgenre of a subgenre once again. It's a subgenre of tactical RPG where battles take place on this kind of like left to right hex grid, so it's not quite as like proper full 3D as like a CRPG or anything like that. It's a little bit more watered down, it seems, and I've always wanted to try one of these, and I'd actually never heard of this particular series before, so I did decide to pick up the King's Bounty games again for dirt cheap and check out The Legend, which seems to be the first one, or a remaster of the first one. It seems like these are very old games that have been remastered or something. And it seems like the reason it was so cheap is because they'd just released a big update with like widescreen support and Steam achievements and stuff, which is pretty cool. Although they use like freaking AI art assets for the community stuff, like to announce it, which is kind of lame, but whatever. None of that's in the game or was used in creation of the game, so shrug. But yeah, if I'm being brutally honest, I played some of this and I went, this is really cool. I need to focus on Octopath because it's very similar kind of an itch that they're scratching, despite being different sub-genres. We need a word for that. Court genres? I don't know, I'll get back to you. Micro-genres? Oh, I like micro-genres. But yeah, all of those dirt cheap pickups did add up together alongside the couple of bigger ones I picked up to now put me in a whole, like, we're gonna ease up. Like, I just kind of feel a little bit gross for picking up so many games at once, even if it didn't set me back all that much money. Like, just from like a standpoint of I have so much to play, and I already had so much to play. I'm like, I should ease up a little bit. We'll see what next month's Humble Monthly brings, but other than that, we're easing up a little bit now. Because, yeah, I'm still playing Octopath, I'm still playing Destiny 2, and I probably shouldn't leave that for too long because its future fate is uncertain. Oh, and I don't know if I did this last week, I don't think so. I re-downloaded The Crew 2, which I actually hadn't played any of the Steam version. I've perfected it on PS4 and I've played it a bunch on Xbox Game Pass. But as for the PC version, I picked that up for literally £1 like 2 years ago, back when they did that. So I knew there would come a day in the future when I would want to revisit The Crew 2 on a new save file on Steam, and that day was this week. So I'm working on my progress through that game, and I'm realizing I actually do like The Crew 2 a little bit more than Motorfest. So I'm having a good time exploring that game, and there's an offline mode for that game now, thankfully. So when they do eventually shut the servers down on that one, we'll still be able to play. Given that the first Crew game shutting down is kind of what sparked the Stop Killing Games movement, yeah, it's nice to see them actually addressing that issue, if not for the first game, then at least for the second. And yeah, I do like the Crew Motorfest, but you just can't beat the Crew 2's map. Just the sheer size and scope of it. Like, I love doing the open world, like, delivery missions where you get, like, a very long, like, 21-kilometer delivery, like, and that's like halfway across the game's map, and you're just driving and driving for ages, listening to the radio and listening to a podcast and just kicking back and chilling out. It's unparalleled in terms of like that kind of racing game, but also with that kind of open world just driving experience. It's wonderful. If you don't own the Crew 2 yet, you know what? Steam sale's on. Let me go see how much it is for you. It is currently £5.59, which is a little bit more than the pound that they gave it away for the other year. But it's still well worth that price, and it won't be available forever because car licensing and music licensing and all that shiz. Did I just say shiz? Who says shiz anymore? But yeah, would recommend. But yeah, this has been a very, like, games that I bought focused episode, so if you kept with me the entire way, thanks. Hopefully I'll have more to say on these games that I picked up next week, other than just that I picked them up, and my super early first impressions on them. You know what's weird? I'm really excited to continue playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I kind of want to play Watch Dogs now. Now that I've talked about it a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't need GTA 6, I got Watch Dogs. I would also like to note that I've been playing No Man's Sky. I think I mentioned Abandoned Mode before that I've been playing that, but also I actually just got back into my main save file because I think I want to hunt for the last few achievements that I haven't yet got in that game, and one of those is to survive for 12 hours on an extreme planet in terms of like how quickly it depletes your resources, and that continues to tick even if you're safe inside your base, it seems. So I'm going to focus on base building in a way I never have before on an extreme planet, so that I can have a reason to be on that planet instead of just sitting around doing nothing, making sure I don't die. And I think it could be cool to build like this almost oasis of like a really nice base on this really inhospitable, horrible planet that's also like got an activated indium mine and all that good stuff. I was talking to someone about this, and I didn't even know you could do automation in bases in No Man's Sky. So despite having hundreds of hours in that game, there's still a lot I don't know about it, and it's probably because they keep updating it and I don't return for every update. So yeah, that's probably one of the updates I missed. Anyway, one last random unprovoked thought before we go, truly not driven by any particular world event. But, you know, I just wanted to say, while we've got this chance, I hope things are going well for you, listener. And I know the world is dark, and I know there are lots of bad things happening. But I just want you to know that if you haven't given yourself a little bit of grace today, you should do that. You should take the time to recognize that you are a human being who exists in this crazy world, and that there's enough difficult things going on. You don't need to make yourself being hard on yourself an extra difficult thing. You are worthy of love. You are allowed to chill and do nothing and enjoy your hobbies. That doesn't make you any less of a person. Productivity is not the only thing that gives you value as a person, and your friends love you and think of you even when you're not around, and you can't control that. So there you go. How's that? How's that for a bit of sudden motivational speech? Bet you weren't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that, but it just kind of happened. It's not going to be a weekly thing, unless you want it to be. Anyway, like and subscribe. Okay, bye.